Hey, welcome to another match of Pioneer Super Qualifier. I was just looking at spoilers and I saw Shark Tornado, and hell yes, that card is friggin' awesome. I love it. One, the obvious meme value of having Sharknado on a card is hilarious. Two, Metallurgic Summonings was my favorite card in that standard environment for a very long time. I just loved that card, and Shark Tornado is just so much better. I mean, sure, it costs one more mana, but you can cycle it. You can cycle it and get a good card out, like something relevant out of the deal, like pay 3, make a 1/1 jump blocker, draw a card is not bad in a control-y deck. And the fact that it triggers off non-creatures is just so big. This hand needs lands. This hand doesn't have a fires, but it has like early plays, a sweeper, some payoffs. I'm on the draw, and I get to scry with Temple of Enlightenment. I'm keeping. So all I need to do is just draw like 3 lands and have Narset find a fires, and then I'll be super happy. Man, that Sharknado card. So good. So I don't know what my opponent's playing. What do I want to face with this hand? This hand's just like probably okay against most things as long as I don't get totally run over. Alright, so it looks like we're playing MonoG again. So lands, please. Lands, fires is okay. Fave Wishes is not very good. Alright. Let's find a land. Oh, come on. I guess they're probably double queuing, because that's a thing when you're playing, yeah. Well, my opponent has lost connection to the game. Sorry, I was responding. As soon as I saw the Sharknado card, I started just like texting my friends that play Magic, being like, yo dude, check this out. Check out this Sharknado card. Honestly, I think that card might see play in this deck. Yes, Hallowed Fountain is exactly what I wanted. Because it can see play in this deck because you can cycle it with fires when fires is in play for very good effect. Because just being like, yeah, I'm gonna, cycle, make a blocker, and since you can do it at instant speed and it doesn't require casting, so it gets around all of the disadvantages of fires. It just like interacts super well with the card. And since I'm playing only non-creatures anyways, being able to be like, okay, Shark Tornado, play some Planeswalker. Now I have a creature that protects the Planeswalker and threatens other stuff, you know, at the same turn. That's just a really strong play. So I'm certain that I'm going to test it out, and I'd be very surprised if it didn't end up with at least a sideboard slot, if not a main deck slot. Alright, so there's a Jade Light. Revealing Vivian. Well, shit. I do not want to see Vivian. So let's cast Fae of Wishes. That's going to be bad for me, because he can play land, Vivian, and then either kill the Fae or just make the Jade Light into a 6-power monstrosity. Or this is even worse. No. I was almost hopeful for a second. And then the Nykthos came down, and I didn't have hope anymore. Well, being on the draw against this deck specifically sucks. I do not like it. Give me a land, please. Teferi would also be acceptable. I would take a Teferi. But mostly I just want land. Best would be Interplanar Beacon. Teferi would work since I'd be able to bounce the Jade Light. Even that's kind of mediocre. I don't see any way for me to win this game if he's got a second Planeswalker in hand, just because I'm going to be dead so fast. Verdict is not what I needed. So let's go ahead and play Narset Impulse for Detention Sphere. And hit Vivian so that he can't tutor up a creature next turn. At least Narset might take a hit for me. And Detention Sphere is not terrible since I can cast it if I don't draw an untapped land. But it's going to be tricky. 10, 12. Like forest and now what? Please just have dorky garbage in hand. Don't be a walking ballista. Don't be a walking ballista. Be the Hydra and just put tons of counters on the Hydra. Please. Okay, double the counters. You know you want to. Alright, well, this isn't too bad. I think I'm still in the game if I draw an untapped land. Because he's going to kill Narset and put me to 7. And then I Wrath. He has a draw step and gets to tutor, or could sack Wolf Willowhaven. Alright, but I am just like ultra dead if I don't draw an untapped land. Does the game continue? Tap landed. Alright, well, I think Verdict, Clarion, the Needles, get rid of Chandra, Nihiri, 2 Gideons. Actually, I'm going to go down to Fae of Wishes. Yeah. Man, both of these game ones have definitely felt like if I just had been on the play. Well, I guess that one would not have been tremendously helped by being on the play, since I would have needed to mulligan, and then everything else would have been different. But certainly, I want to win some die rolls against these fast decks. I mean, there's some decks where like it's not super important to be on the play, like against Sultai, some control decks, mono white, just because of the 2-drop that gets lands, Knight of the White Orchid. Yeah, this hand's good. This is definitely a keeper. So, turn 1 Steam Vents, turn 2 probably shocking myself with Sacred Foundry so I can play an Omen of the Sea. There's some consideration that maybe these needles should be spyglasses, or like at least one of them should be, just because the upside of being able to see exactly which's in their hand is sometimes very relevant. Like, against his deck, you kind of want to just like play it out and name Karn or Nissa, because those are the ones with really devastating first turn value plays. But I mean, sometimes you play it out and they just don't have that specific one, at least not for a while, and you're like, this wasn't super helpful. But if I can get like 2 needles and just needle both of his good planeswalkers, the game gets a lot easier. $10 minutes spent, less than a minute and a half spent. Come on. Come on. Man, that Sharknado card is going to be freaking awesome. Cannot wait to play. Like, that one excites me more than anything else I've seen, and that's not a diss on the rest of the cards. I do think Companion looks like it's going to be interesting. I'm very curious to see the rest of the Companion cards and like what the deck building of them looks like. Fires is a nice draw. I like that one. I think I'm gonna Omen of the Sea. When I Omen of the Sea, I'm probably looking for a sweeper, and failing finding a sweeper, I would keep a land. Mystic and Mystic. This is another Mystic. I'm in such good shape if I can find a Clarion. Maybe he's like debating whether or not to just try to blind needle something. Nope, another Elves. Okay, so kind of sitting there worried about a potential sweeper. Do I keep Steam Vents? I think trying to get one more look for sweeper does seem a little excessively greedy. The drop retreat's okay. So obviously I'm going to play Teferi. If he has a land, 5 mana. The question is, do I bounce Omen of the Sea? Or do I bounce... No, I don't bounce Omen of the Sea. I'm just going to bounce an elf. All right. I'm just not going to have time to play the Omen for a little bit. Alright, so what am I going to wish for? Assuming that next turn is just like, oh, well, gonna have to wish for something, and because I don't have any... Well, actually, no. I'm going to be playing Pithing Needle next turn. Yeah. Fires. Pithing Needle. Vivian. Arcbow Ranger. So let's put a stop here. And decide whether or not I want to crack Omen of the Sea or keep my mana for Castle Ardenvale activation. Probably going to be the Castle. The Omen of the Sea. Because I think what I probably end up wanting to do is scry to a sweeper, cast sweeper, cast Teferi, tuck Vivian. Suddenly he's got basically nothing in play and has no mana. Because right now he doesn't have very much in the way of lands and is relying on Devotion to Nykthos to get mana. Of course, I could always just wish up the Dragon God, but that doesn't actually seem very good. Oh, and then if I find a sweeper, play Teferi, and tuck Vivian, there's a good chance that if he doesn't play something tremendously interesting, I can just go Fae of Wishes, Possibility Storm, and lock him out on the following turn, which would be pretty good. Is he going to play his next elf? Because the elf is basically 0 mana due to Devotion, but it does kind of extend. Right? Karn wishes for what's Karn gonna do? And also, is the 2/2 elves going to attack Teferi? The important questions. What would be bad for me? It would be bad if he got a Heart of Kirin. Would rather not see that one. Or like a Spyglass or Needle would be less good. But Needle on Teferi is kind of mediocre, unless he needles Big Teferi, and needling Big Teferi in the dark is kind of ambitious. Alright, so Meteor Golem would not be great for me. He is killing my Teferi. So let's find... Oh, yeah. So let's sack the Omen and find a sweeper. I do have 8 of them, so I should have okay outs. Alright, do I want Jace afterwards? Jace does seem fine. So let's draw Verdict, Steam Vents, why not? Then go Verdict, Teferi, and let's throw away Karn. Because because I just don't want to deal with that. So he has a Meteor Golem and Karn in 2 turns. He doesn't have a lot of mana, but he's got some mana. Three, 4, 4A. You could spend 5 on... Oh, another Karn. Don't love that. For a Sky Sovereign. Alright, so plus to Fairy, because that's just happening. Arden Veil. Alright, so what could I wish for? Casualties of War? I like keeping Casualties of War open as a possibility for next turn. Chandra doesn't feel quite as good. I think I'm going to start with Jace. Minus. These aren't great. Take the Omen of the Sea and I think I just, play Omen of the Sea. He's going to play Sky Sovereign and kill something. I don't think I want Clarion right now. Oh, there's the Needle. Shame I didn't have that last turn. So let's go ahead and just make a human now, so that I could potentially sack Omen of the Sea at the end of his turn. And that way I'll have more mana open to do potential things next turn. Interesting. He could have tapped the Nykthos for the mana to do that. Oh wait, no, he couldn't. This is only 3 pips, not 4. Okay. Well, actually, this is fine. Oh, this is beyond fine. This is great. Ooh. Nice. This is going to be a sick Casualties of War. Alright, what you getting? Pithing Needle is probably the most likely thing. There's no way he names Omen of the Sea, so I'm going to just see which one he names before I sack the Omen. I imagine he names Teferi, but I could be wrong. This is gonna be gross. Alright. Don't need that or that. Not particularly anyways. This turn is going to be nasty. Check this out. Granted. Cast with Fires. Yes. Let's get Casualties of War. Cast with Fires, kill everything. I'm going to kill his Needle. I'm going to kill that Forest. I'm going to kill Fires so that I can cast more cards this turn. I'm going to kill that. I'm going to kill Nissa. I'm going to plus Teferi. Cast Detention Sphere on Vivian. So he has less mana. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have even bothered with that part. And then I'll Needle Karn the Great Creator, plus Jace, cast the Fae, and play a Temple of Enlightenment. Don't need that one. Okay. He went from having a lot of things to having, like, nothing at all. That was some pretty hardcore casualties. Oh, man. Like, killing your own Fires of Invention is not full value, but that was pretty close to full value. Maybe I didn't need to strictly kill my own fires to cast more spells, but I wanted to, and it was hilarious. My opponent is disconnected again, which potentially means that I might just win game 3 by timeout if they take a while to reconnect, which, I mean, not necessarily the way I want to win all my matches, but if I had a choice between playing and losing a close game 3 in this tournament at this stage of it, or just winning by default, I would take default, because shamelessly I just want to win the tournament, and if my opponent's disconnect to do it, sure. Ikoria previews looks sweet, by the way. Ah, opponent's back. Alright, looks like we're gonna have a real game 3 anyways. Potentially. My opponent is definitely on the slower side. Let's see if they decide to keep playing it out or just concede here. I certainly think for them conceding immediately is the correct option because, well, it's 3 permanents to many permanents, and his odds of winning the game are pretty darn low. Like, he's got 2 cards in hand, 4 cards in hand. One of them is Karn, because he just drew his Karn that I had tucked earlier. One of them is Sky Sovereign, one is Meteor Golem. Karn doesn't do anything, so he's got 3 mana. He needs to play 3 mana sources before being able to cast anything that's currently relevant in hand. Okay, yeah. So, let's see. Gideon of the Trials. Fae of Wishes. Mm-hmm. So is there anything that I want to cut from this? Narset on the draw? Maybe not good. Drawn from Dreams? Maybe slow. I'm going to keep it like this. I think this is a good spot to be at. Aside from the lack of a red land, this hand's great. Or at least pretty good. I like having Teferi. I like having a Needle. Opponent mulliganing, I like that. Let's see. I think it'll really depend on what my first 2 draw steps are, whether or not I want to play a Needle on turn 2. Elspeth Conquers Death is not what I wanted. I will have to draw land to win this game, though. Like, if I don't draw my lands, I will die. Burning Tree. Okay. Voiding Satyr. Please don't have a... That is a lot of stuff. I just want a red land. That's all I need. Okay. I'm definitely going to wait for the Planeswalker before I play the Needle, though. No Planeswalker. Okay. Can I draw a land? If I draw land, or if I draw a red land, I just straight win this game. Fave Wish is not great. I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely not a card I wanted to see, but it is at least gonna help against these attackers. Yep. Let's just kill off an elf. And yes, we did it. I'm even going to gain 1 life. Yeah, that was big. Think in the face of a possible Nissa, I'm going to just draw a card hoping to hit my land. Fail to do so, but I don't want to bounce this Fave Wishes. I'm just really, really, really far from casting a Granted. Is this Karn? It's Karn. What you gonna get? Sky Sovereign. Alright, well, Castle Ardenvale fires Needle on Karn, the Great Creator. So he's going to cast Sky Sovereign, kill Teferi, and then I cross my fingers, pray to draw Elspeth, land to go Teferi and Elspeth Conquers Death. Land? No, not land. Suppose I just do nothing. Still don't really want to attack with Fae of Wishes, because the downside is very possible. Might have drawn another Karn. There's a land. Let's bottom the Interplanar Beacon. Play Elspeth Conquers Death. Get rid of Sky Sovereign. Play Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. And go ahead and plus Teferi. And Triumph. I'm just keeping Fae of Wishes back because it blocks the Nissa 3/3 lands so well, and hey, it finally paid off. So his spells are more expensive, which doesn't matter. Let's play a Jace, Architect of Thought. Minus Jace, what do we find? Pithing Needle, Narset. Well, I guess I'm going to take that. And do I just let him have crap loads of mana? And say, okay, you can have tons of mana, but what you can actually do with it? I think so. I think I'm just gonna needle Nissa, who shakes the world. Wait a second. Walking Ballista. That's a card. He's nowhere close to, this is like 3, 4, 5, 6 counters. Yeah. I'm not in danger in the near future of just straight up dying to a walking ballista. So I can keep plussing on Teferi for a few more bits. All right, we did it. So currently at 6-0 in this super qualifier. There's 9 rounds to top 8. So if I win the next round, I'm might not be locked, but I'm pretty close to it, because at 266, we're at the lower end of this like bracket for number of players, which means that you're gonna have less undefeated people. So if I go 7-0 and then lose the last 2, my tiebreakers are probably, you know, top flight, and thus I'll probably still make it in, but you know, I could also just not lose a match yet. Oh, it's worth noting that right before I played this, entered this super qualifier, I did play a league, just a regular league, and go 5-0. So today I am 11-0 with this deck. So yeah, it kicks butt. All right, talk to you in a bit.